Get inspired, motivated, encouraged, and empowered.
Hold on, don't let go.
On the Big Testimony with Israel Kagiri.
Hey, hold on, don't let go. I know that I can stand.
The Big Testimony
No matter what may come my way.
with Israel Kagiri.
Kanaya playing right on 90.7 to the fair more true this worth finding at exactly 28 minutes past 8 p.m. on this second hour and the time for the Big Testimony. My good name is Israel Kagiri and you're listening to the True Armor, the Big Testimony on 90.7 to the fair more. Truth is worth finding. I'm telling you, God is really moving in our midst. My guest is already live in studio, is going to come in the next few minutes. Yes, but I want you guys to let me know listening from, and if you're ready, if you're booked your seat ready to hear what the Lord has done, let me sample just quite a number of the feedback before we go ahead on the Big Testimony. I can see quite a number. Kim Chege on Twitter handle Kim Chege unasema praise God Jericho, tuko tuned in enjoying the show, asante sana. I can see quite a number. Yes, good evening, God bless you. This is Millie Achero, Joski Shams, Kagiri, Rasema Zimmerman, we are tuned in. Happy Boy Kesh, amen, I'm tuned in. Kagiri, ready to hear the doing of the Lord. I can also see who is here. Kinoti Jim, nimekuona pale. Yes, Barare Mambo Daniel, yes, God heals all diseases, for he is a great physician indeed. Millicent Kasiba, good evening, Dr. Kagiri, tuning all the way from Embakasi. Quite a number of your feedback. Remember to keep them coming in at Truth FM Kenya at Israel_Kagiri. The hashtag is the Big Testimony on Facebook, and find me. Israel Kagiri is my page. Like if you've not liked my page, and you can leave your comment there. I'll be able to sample as we progress on the show. But right about now, we go straight on the Big Testimony. My guest is already live in studio. Yes, we have been waiting, and the waiting is finally over as we get to hear what the Lord has done. Yes, maybe you can introduce herself. Yes, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yes, I can get you now. Yes, so what's your name?
My name is Catherine Jerry Kehara.
Yes, Catherine Jerry Kehara.
Yes, I am born again. I come from Kiambu. Yes.
Is this your first time to be here, maybe in the studio Truth FM?
Yes, this is my first time to be here, but I often listen to the Big Testimony whenever I get time. Yes.
Yes, because you are Catherine Jerry Kehara, that means, having that third name means that you are married, right?
Yes, I am married to Anjosfat Kehara. Yes.
Okay. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Okay. So even as we start, Catherine, where were you born?
I was born in Kiambu County, a place called Githiga.
Githiga.
Yes. I am a last born in the family of 3. Yes.
Last born in a family of 3.
Yes.
Maybe you can describe your background. Are you coming from a Christian background?
Yes. Growing up, I grew up in the church of AIPCA.
Yes.
That is where I began my spiritual journey. And I did the stuff that kids do, Sunday school. And when I went to Form 1, that is when I met the Lord. I remember it was during a weekend challenge where the guys who came from KFC, that is what we were calling it, the body that is in charge of the high school, they came for a weekend challenge, and I gave my life to the Lord when I was in Form 1. And from that time, I have followed the Lord, and I'm glad I made that decision.
So when you finished your high school, what did you pursue?
When I finished my high school, I pursued accounting, and that is what I'm practicing. I am a practicing accountant even now.
Yes.
So
was it easy for you to get a position, to get a job?
It wasn't that hard because I finished my course in November 2008.
Wow. November 2008.
Yes, and I got my job in June 2009. So I took around 5 or 6 months before I got a job. And the job I got is still the one that I'm doing right now.
Wow.
Yes.
You maintain the job up to now?
Yes,
that is
up to now.
How many years?
It should be 11 years now.
Wow.
Yes.
11 years.
Yes.
What's your secret for being so loyal and being relevant?
First, I would attribute it to God.
Yes.
And second, I would say I am a committed employee.
Yes.
And I'm passionate about my work. Right from primary school, I loved Hesabu so much.
Yes.
And so I have such a great passion for numbers. Okay. So even as I work, I'm not pushed.
Yes.
And I do it with all the passion that I can get. Hey. So somehow I love what I do.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, mentioning that part that you love maths. Hey, a lot of us we didn't love maths in high school. That was one of the most subject tulikuwa tunaanguka tu.
I was among the few people that were lucky to have something for maths, and I loved it from the word go. Yes.
Wow. And now, how now did you progress now after from there? And maybe to the next step of even settling down?
Well, after getting my job, I had gone to college a little late.
Yes.
Because after high school, I think I stayed for about 4 years.
Yes.
Before I could go to college. You know, the financial issues here and there. So it took me for 4 years outside before I could go to college.
Yes.
So by the time I finished college, I was somehow advancing in age.
Yes.
So I took an year. And then in 2010, April, that is when I got married. Exactly around a year from the time I got my job.
Maybe you can explain to us how you met Mr. Kihara.
I met Mr. Kihara in a mission. We had gone for a mission in Migori when we were youths. I think that time I was in my second or first year in college.
Yes.
So I met him during that mission. And as we were preparing, I think I was given a session to lead during the open air meetings.
Yes.
And I had seen a guy who was just quiet. So when I was calling people to come and testify,
yes,
I had spotted him as a very quiet guy. I had not even told him, and I told him. So I called him and I told him to come and testify to the people of Migori. So immediately after getting out of the pulpit, he was on my case. And he wanted to know, how did you even get to know my name? Why did you even call me? I don't know you. I have never talked to you. And we began talking, and the rest, as they say, is history.
You know, I keep on encouraging my fellow, you know, the young singles, you know, to always not miss these concerts, you know, the conference and the missions. You never know. You never know. Maybe your story might be a little bit the same with that.
Yes.
And know what happened.
Then after that, we began communicating, and we fell for each other, and we ended up getting married. We celebrated our 10th year this April.
Yes.
Yes. So I've been married for 10 years.
10 years.
Yes.
That's like a decade.
It is.
It is a decade.
Yes.
Wow. Glory to God.
Amen.
But now along the marriage.
Yeah.
You mentioned something happened the year
2011. Yes, in the year 2011, I remember I was breastfeeding.
Yes.
I got my baby in 2010.
What's the name of your?
She's called Phoebe. Phoebe Kihara.
Yes.
Right there with you.
Yes. And she's beautiful.
Yes, she's a beautiful girl.
Yes.
And as I was breastfeeding, I remember she was 10 months. And I began feeling some firmness in my left breast. And I remember I went to the doctor in my county district hospital.
So this is is it your second year in marriage?
Yes.
Yes.
This is my second year in marriage.
Yes.
I went to the district hospital and I saw a doctor friend of mine who was coming to my place of work to treat students. I work in a school.
Yes.
So I met that particular daktari and I knew him. And he told me that since I was a working breastfeeding mother, there was a possibility that I was having a milk clot in my breast. So he gave me some medicine and told me to go and take it for 3 weeks.
Yes.
And then after the 3 weeks, it should have gone away. So I went, took the medicine. Remember, I'm still breastfeeding.
Yes.
So I leave the baby in the morning, go to work. And wherever I was working was a bit far. So I'm not the kind of people who come back during the breaks to breastfeed the baby.
Yes.
So in the evening, you come and the breasts are full. So I bought that idea that yes, it could have been a milk clot. So I took the medication for 3 weeks.
Yes.
And I did not notice any improvements. And I went back to him, and he said, this is possible because you are a nursing mother who is working.
Yes.
This is possible. So this time I'll not give you medicine. I will require you to be pressing the breast with some warm cloth. After you breastfeed the baby, make sure you press it with a warm cloth.
Yes.
And see whether the swelling, the firmness will go away. And as we all know, cancer, unless it is at a very advanced stage, it
Yes.
doesn't hurt. There's no pain. There is no nothing.
Yes.
So I somehow, got used to the firmness. After all, I was not in any pain, and I continued. I continued pressing and pressing and pressing until sometimes in May, when I realized now the firmness is beginning to form into a lump. The moment I noticed it, it wasn't a lump. It was just some firmness that I was feeling. So I realized sometimes in May that it was, it was becoming a lump. And I decided to go and see another doctor. So I went to a different facility, this time a private hospital.
Yes.
And I went to the reception. I explained my case to the person I met at the casualty.
Yes.
And the CEO said that I should go and take an ultrasound, which I was sent to do the same day. So I went, and I found a very good radiologist who was explaining to me what he was doing to my breast.
Yes.
So he was, showing me graphics on the monitor of his machine.
Yes.
And he showed me at some point something that was changing the color. He was calling it protein. And he told me that there is something that I want to check further from whatever I can see from the graphics that I am checking.
Yes.
So what we will do, I want to send you to the theater. They will do a biopsy, and then we will rule out what is happening with your breast.
Yes.
And I didn't have any medical background. Personally, nobody in our family was a doctor. So these issues about biopsy, malignancy, and all sort of issues,
Yes.
they were just Greek to me. So me, I just cooperated like, any other patient, without even, it had never occurred to me that it could be anything that could get as serious as it turned out to be.
Yes.
So me, I'm just cooperating, and I'm telling myself it is a milk clot, but let me have it checked so that I can continue breastfeeding my baby well. So I went to the theater. Same day, all this is happening within the same day. I went to the theater, and the surgeon at the theater had been given instructions of doing a biopsy.
Yes.
That is, they just take a small portion of the tumor and
Yes.
take it to the lab. But I don't know why he decided to take me to the theater and cut my breast and remove the whole tumor.
What?
Yes, that is what he did. But I realized
Yes.
after it had already been done. That is when I realized that my breast had been cut, and instead of, the biopsy,
So you were unconscious?
yes, I was unconscious. But then there's nothing I would have done. So
Yes.
that facility didn't have the capacity to do the biopsy.
Yes.
So they told me they will send it to another hospital, and that I should come after 3 weeks and correct my results. So I went home, and after a while, instead of my breast healing, instead of the wound healing, it began oozing some water and pearls. And, the wood began getting bigger. And at that point, I had to stop breastfeeding the baby.
How old was she?
This now is June, so she was 1 year, 1 month,
Okay.
because she was born in May, and this is happening in June. So she was 1 year, 1 month. So when I realized that the position of my breast is getting worse,
Yes.
I had to stop breastfeeding her. So she stopped breastfeeding at 1 year, 1 month. So the 3 weeks lapses, and I went to the hospital.
Yes.
All this while, I have not, taken this as a serious issue. So even this doctor's appointment, I'm going alone. I never went with company.
Yes.
So this particular time, I went to get the results, and I get to the theater reception, and the receptionist tells me, the doctor who operated on you is not in. Your results are here, yes, but he's the only one who can give you those results.
Yes.
So go and come back again next week. So I went home a little bit upset because they are my results. Where are they being kept? But either way, I went back home. And the following week, I remember very well, it was on a Thursday. And I was going to see the auditors. Remember I said I'm an accountant.
Yes.
So I was going to see the auditors for the approval of the previous year's books of accounts. And I was supposed to go with my boss. So I had told him to allow me to pass by the hospital very early in the morning and then catch up with him at the auditor's office at around 10. And the hospital happened to be en route. So he told me, that's okay. So you go, pick the results, and then we meet at the auditor's office. So I go, and again I went to the reception, and they told me the same story. That, again, the surgeon is not in, and he's the only one who can give you the results.
Yes.
And I told him, today, I'm not going without my results. Whatever happens, give me my results. I have to go home with them. Well, I don't know, maybe that girl saw me as the nagging type and decided, it is your results, let me give you, you go and do what you want to do with them. So she left me, went, and came back with an envelope. And gave that envelope to me. And these are the words that she told me. Catherine, you have cancer. Utajua vile utafanya.
What?
Yes. I am all alone. I don't have company. And it had not even occurred in my mind that it can be anything close to that. And she leaves me at the reception.
So you are left alone at the reception?
I'm left alone with my results in the bombshell.
Wow. Okay. Let's take a very short break. We'll be back in a moment as that sinks in. Okay.
It's all you've got to just be strong. And it's a fight just to keep it together. I know you think that you are too far gone, but hope is never lost. Hope is never lost. One step closer, put one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the darkness. You're gonna be okay. I know your heart is heavy from those nights. Remember that you are a fighter. You never know just what tomorrow holds. And you're stronger than you know. You're stronger than you know. Hold on, don't let go. Hey. Just take one step closer, one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. Just follow the light in the darkness. One step closer, one foot in front of the other. You'll get through this. you're gonna be okay.
From the Bethel Music coming the song You're Gonna Be Okay, playing with a 90.7 to the FM. Where Truth is Worth when at exactly 11 minutes the top of the hour, and Elvis Award will be coming in the Truth FM news at exactly 9 p.m. as informs what is happening locally and internationally. But right about now we continue the story here on the Big Testimony. Remember to keep your feedback coming through. The hashtag is the Big Testimony 21907. My text line 21907, or as well you can WhatsApp me on 0727 907 907. On Twitter, Truth FM Kenya at Israel_Kagiri. The hashtag is the Big Testimony. Facebook page 90.7 Truth FM official page, or as well you can talk to me on my Facebook page Israel Kagiri. So we continue the story here with my guest Catherine Njeri Kihara. Yes, Catherine.
Yes.
Now you told me that you are at the reception.
Yes.
And the news are out.
Yes.
You are diagnosed with cancer.
Yes.
What was the reaction? How did you feel back then?
I can remember very well. I began screaming in the hospital reception.
Mm-hmm.
I screamed. I called everybody who, my mind could remember of calling.
Yes. Until
the people who were inside the theater came out to check what was happening. And thank God the hospital has a counseling department.
Yes.
And within a very short time, they had called their counselor, who took me to a room. And she began talking to me. And I can't even remember what she was saying. At that point, my mind was just blown out. I was just out of my mind. Because, you are in that state. Yes. You had not even thought about it.
Yes.
It had never occurred. You didn't know of anybody in your family that had the history of cancer.
Yes.
And that time, it should be 8 years ago.
Yes.
Cancer was not talked about the way it's being talked right now.
Yes.
And I thought it as a disease of the old, postmenopausal women and the like. So I began screaming, and so the counselor came and took me to a room, and she began talking to me, and I couldn't, get to terms to what was happening.
Yeah, maybe you can ask you, because you were so young and married by that time.
Yes.
How old were you?
I was 29.
29.
Yes.
Okay.
I was 29 years old. So the counselor, when she realized, it was a he, when he realized I was not in this world,
yes,
he asked me, is there anybody that I can call? I had my phone, and I didn't respond. I remember she took the phone from my hand, and when she went through my phone book, I'm the like who don't do password on my phone.
Wow.
So it was very easy for him to access my phone. And the first person he accessed was my sister.
Yes.
So she called her. He's the one who called her.
Yes.
And the way you would call somebody and you want to give them bad news, you can't just tell them pap.
Yes.
You have to once kuwapeleka hivi na hivi.
Yes.
So I was listening and watching what he was doing, and I saw he's taking too long before breaking the news. So I grabbed the phone from him, and I talked to my sister, and I told her, I'm in the hospital.
Yes.
I've been told I have cancer. I am dying. Come quickly. Then that was it. I didn't talk to them again.
Yes.
But I don't know how they managed to organize themselves, and within a very short time, they were at the hospital.
Yes.
But by the time they get to the hospital, I had calmed up a little bit. And I had taken back my phone. So when they got at the reception, they called me because they actually didn't know which part of the hospital I was in. And I told them, let me come at the casualty.
Yes.
You know the way the casualty is, it's a big hospital. You know the way the casualty is.
Yes.
So there were very many people queuing. And I remember the moment I saw them, I again caused a commotion in the casualty. I began screaming all over until the people who were queuing were like, what has happened? But, such scenarios are common in a hospital.
Yes.
So the people at the casualty do not know what had happened at the theater.
Yes.
So they called the counselor again. So he came running just to find out that it is the same girl.
Yes.
So again, we were taken to a room. And then we began crying now, all of us. Nobody can contain this kind of news.
Yes.
So we stayed in that room. We were able to be calmed down. And after a few hours,
yes,
we were released to go home. Yes. So I go home. My husband was a little bit far.
Yes.
Where he was working, he was a little bit far. So they had to call him. Until today, I have never known what they told him. But by the time we got to Kiambu,
yes,
he was also in Kiambu. So we went home together. And I remember when we got to the house, we all sat down. Nobody is talking to the other. We are just crying. We don't even know what to say. We don't even know what to do. We cried and cried. Those people wenye walijua wakakuja, mtu anapata tu tunalia. Pia yeye anashindwa anasema nini, anaingia tu kulia. And it was one very long day for me. One very long day for me.
Yes.
14th of July, 2011. I can still remember even the date. Yes. So that was it. So I took the whole night. I can remember I didn't sleep. Because that time, cancer was clearly a death sentence.
Yes.
There was no two way about it. Remember, I had never heard about anybody who had cancer and either was treated or died or anything happened to them. So I'm alone trying to ponder this, this kind of news without information, without anybody to ask.
Yes.
I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do. And I can remember the whole night we didn't sleep. Me and my husband, we didn't sleep. And remember, we have a baby.
So
we have a toddler.
Yes.
Who is not understanding what is happening in our world. So she still needs attention.
Yes.
And the people that are supposed to attend to her, they are broken. They are worn out. They are not in this world.
Yes.
But either way, I stayed in the house the whole of Friday. I didn't go anywhere. But now by Saturday, I had begun accepting the reality. Not per se accepting, but now I had begun bringing my mind to the thought of, trying to figure out what is happening to my life. But I can remember the few people I talked to.
Yes.
I can specifically remember 3 people. The first person was my pastor, Pastor Samuel Kimaro. I called him and he told me he was in the office. I went to see him. And I remember, I was breaking the news in a bad way to all the people. I told them, Pastor, I have come. Before I could finish the third, fourth word, I was already breaking. And he's like, what is wrong with you, Catherine? And I told him, Pastor, I have cancer. I am dying. Yes. And I was leaving them at a position of also wondering, what am I supposed to do with such kind of a person?
Yes.
And then my marital father, the person who was my best man in my wedding,
yes,
has his where he works is opposite the church. So when I was done with the pastor, I just closed the road, went to his office and told him, Dad, I have come. And he could tell from my face things were not okay. Akaniuliza, Catherine, kwani kuko na shida? Nikamwambia ndio, na ni shida kubwa kwa sababu nakufa. And he was like, what? Yes, I have cancer. I'm dying. And that person I called was my best friend in college. And it's sad to say that right now she's late. Pauline. She was, the girl I have, had so close to me for the whole of my life. And I also remember I called her. It was on a Saturday and she had not gone to work. I called her. And I remember I asked her, Pauline, you're still sleeping and I'm dying.
Yes.
And she told me she was calling me Jerry. Kaniambia Jerry neke daruti gyogo, in Kikuyu. Nini uko na mzaha mingi sana. And I told her, Pauline, it's true. I'm dying. I have cancer. And the few people that I personally told, I was telling them, in that crude way. Bila ile ya kuficha ama, because in my mind, that is what was there. So this is 14th July. So those 2 days, 3 days, I completely behaved in a weird way and I wasn't myself. Then we came together as a family and now, got to terms to it, and we were supposed to sit down and agree now what happens.
Yes.
And so I thank God I have a very supportive family who very quickly came together and began looking for options where we can get help.
Yes.
And within a duration of 2 weeks, I had gotten an admission at Kenyatta Hospital.
Wow.
Through the support of my family members. And on the 5th of August, I began those very, 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 very touching and very demeaning seasons and periods of one's life. Because when I saw that the doctor at Kenyatta, they were saying that my type of cancer was very aggressive.
Yes.
Number one, because I was young. Number two, because it was being fueled by estrogen.
Yes.
That is a hormone. And now it was very, very fast because I had been very active because I was breastfeeding.
Yes.
So it had to be treated as a matter of emergency.
And then it was at which stage?
It was at stage 3.
Stage 3.
Yes. I get to know about it when it is stage 3.
Wow.
And by the time I was going for the surgery, I had developed 3 lumps. Remember that the original one had been removed during the diagnosis. But within this duration of, it should be around now 1.5 months, because I waited for the results, and then I have these other 2-3 weeks that we are trying to get where we will get the medication. By the time I went for surgery, I had developed another 3 lumps.
Wow.
So
just hold it there. I cannot, it's about that time you listen to the Truth FM news. When you come back in the next hour, we continue with the story here on the Big Testimony. Do not touch.
Did you know? The truth can be heard everywhere, even in your mobile phones, which means theoretically we can be heard at State House. We are in your handbag all day long. Listen online on www.truthfm.org. Local coverage, worldwide listening. 90.7 Truth FM. Life-changing stories only on the Big Testimony.
It's the Big Testimony.